really are my drug. I'm addicted to fashion shows. After 30 years, I still love doing them.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So I'm so excited to be here with Lynne O'Neill, an exciting and important personality in the industry who has been a producer for many important shows over the years and has been producing fashion shows for how many years now?
I hate to say it, but I think it's about 30 years.
What's happening back there that nobody sees behind the wall?
So when I walk in, it's chaos, you know, but it's organized chaos. And so, you know, it starts with the designer, and then it turns out when I walk in, it's like 250 people, you know, and then there's an audience of 1,200 or you know, 900, depending on where it is. And so, you know, I walk in and it's the hair and makeup. The models are always missing, you know, so we always say they're MIA, they're usually smoking, they're, you know, they're smoking, they're calling their boyfriends or girlfriends or whatever, you know, and they're doing things that they shouldn't be doing, and they're like little children, but we love them. And so we're always looking for them. And everyone gets out to rehearsal. We do a talk through. I do a technical rehearsal of the music, the cues for the music and the lighting, and then we do a talk through with the models, and then we actually walk through the show. Aloha Zen. Because if we've all done our jobs right, when everybody else is really excited and nervous and the energy level gets up really high, then that's when I get really calm. So we have the designers, you know, doing interviews, we have celebrities, we have lots of camera people, we have lots of hair and makeup team people and their teams, and sponsors and their press, and so maybe it's more than 250 people backstage. I know that we never have enough credentials, and so, you know, we always have to give up our credentials so that we can bring in more people illegally. Don't tell IMG I said that. Then I'm responsible for calling the models out on the runway, and so it's really important that they be cued enough space in between each model so that the cameras can get a clean, clear shot of the model's silhouette without models behind them. My backstage assistant Devin, what he always does is he tells me who's on deck, you know, as in baseball talk, and you know who he's got lined up backstage. So he'll say Drue, and I'll say stand by, and then I'll say, you know, stand by, model, go, and then the model will go, and then I'll watch it visually, and he'll say, as soon as he lets that model go, he'll say, you know, Natasha, because everyone's named Natasha, and so Natasha, or Julia, or Julia, or Julia.
Now, what's a good walk?
Well, you know, I think that it's really important that the model be confident, you know, and that it's a good, strong walk, and they walk with their head up. They're not looking down. They're not slouched, you know, because that really affects not only the mood or the look of it, but also, most importantly, it ruins the line of the clothing. A lot of inner strength, that there's something behind the eyes. That's more difficult and challenging. Because the runway itself is all straight lines and intersections, 90-degree angles. And so when they come out and they don't walk in it, they come out and they don't make that 90-degree turn, then it looks really sloppy on the runway, and it looks really unprofessional. So I kind of call them on that. If you don't turn in a 90-degree angle, what happens is you're brushing against the side walls, which really look bad, you know. And if it's a straight runway, then models walk into each other. Yes, it's hard to believe, but they do. Even after I talk to them about it and I make a big joke out of it to try to engage them, then they still walk into each other. I don't understand how that happens. So what I say to them is, don't be afraid of the center, you know, and which is kind of like, you know, could be a little bit philosophy too, but anyway, it has a couple of levels of meaning there. Yes, and sometimes I say things like that, and they do have a couple of different meanings. But anyway, some of them get it, some of them don't. But really, it's just don't be afraid. You know, don't be afraid, because they come out, and even though they're models, and you think, oh, they're really beautiful, and you know, they do this kind of thing all the time, Actually, they're afraid of the center and they're afraid of the cameras. And so what happens is many times they'll walk over to the right instead of walking to the center, walking in the center, and instead of walking to the cameras, they'll stop really short of the cameras because, you know, I think that's sort of, you know, well, you know, I would be afraid too. Hello. This is one camera, but there's like, it could be like, you know, 50, 100 cameras there, you know, all snapping away, which is a beautiful thing in itself. Like what I do is I make iced tea. Now my favorite thing, and I think it makes me feel really good, is just one tea bag of black tea mixed in with 5 tea bags. This is my friend Nancy who gave me this recipe.
Wow.
5 tea bags of decaffeinated green tea, and what I do is I mix it with hot water. I melt the honey, and then I put all the tea bags together, 1 to 5, so 5 decaf green teas, 1 regular black tea, and I put hot water into the pot with honey, and I let it sit there for about like a half a pot of water, and I let it sit there for 2 hours, and then I chill it with water. I put water into it, and that's what I drink. And I don't put too much honey in it because I don't want it to be too sweet, but I get a little bit of, you know, kick from the decaf green tea, even though it's decaf, and a little the black tea, and it makes me feel good, and I drink less milk now. So I drink less coffee. I don't really drink coffee so much anymore, and milk, and I just feel much better. And then also, and then I just read that Vivian Tam, whose show I also do, what she does is she only drinks clear liquids. So maybe there is something to it, you know. Comme des Garçons since 1980, 81 or 82, and religiously, you know, and but I always mixed it and didn't take it so seriously. You know, fashion should be fun. You know, it should make you feel good, and you know, every day it can be like an expression of how you feel every day. You know, and it doesn't. I don't think there's any right or wrong, and I think that that's wrong in thinking that there has to be right and wrong. Anything goes now, as you saw, the tents and outside, and so you know, it doesn't matter. I mean, you know, pull on elastic waist pants. You know, of course that was like a no-no at one time. That meant you were whatever, but yeah, taboo and everything. But you know, everything is pull on now or whatever. We can wear our underwear on the street, and that's okay, just as long as you do it with a lot of confidence and you mix it well.
So thank you, Lynne, so much for taking time to chat with us and share your experiences. This is just coming right off the heels of Fashion Week when everybody is exhausted. We really appreciate it, and you're an inspiration to so many people in the fashion world and also to the Japanese American community. And so thank you so much. Thank you. Anyway, I hope the messages are clear. Anyway, whatever they are. We've got our cues. We've got our cues. We've spoken to Lynne. We know that it's time for us to go. That's right. Yes, that's right. Drue, go. Go.